Public media funding is on the line. That means trusted news like this could be in jeopardy. Help protect the journalism you count on. Act now at boisestatepublicradio.org/funding. Happy Friday, it's The Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. I'm Troy Oppie in for George Prentice. This morning, abortion rights advocates gearing up to start their signature gathering campaign to get an initiative on the ballot in November 2026. Environmental advocates are suing to stop mining exploration near the headwaters of the Boise River. Governor Brad Little hosted several high-ranking Trump administration officials this week. And the trial of Bryan Kohberger has been pushed back slightly. All those stories and lots more this morning on The Connector from Boise State Public Radio. Abortion rights advocates will begin collecting signatures tomorrow to overturn Idaho's near-total ban on the procedure. As James Dawson reports, the ballot initiative would also protect access to birth control and IVF.
The campaign from Idahoans United for Women and Families would return Idaho to the standard upheld by Roe v. Wade before it was overturned in 2022. That means lawmakers could not ban the procedure before fetal viability or in emergency cases. Melanie Falwell, who heads the initiative campaign, says the near-total ban has forced OBGYNs to leave the state and has hurt pregnant girls and women.
On one of the hardest days of their life, it is being made worse, more dangerous, more expensive, scarier, riskier by the government.
Falwell says her group has more than 1,000 volunteers across the state ready to collect the roughly 66,000 signatures needed to qualify for the ballot in November 2026. The kickoff rally begins at 10 a.m. Saturday at the Idaho Capitol. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
The judge in the upcoming capital murder trial of Bryan Kohberger has pushed back the start of proceedings by a week. Kohberger is accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in an off-campus residence in November 2022. Judge Stephen Hippler Thursday denied Kohberger's motion to delay the trial further, writing that the defense hadn't laid out enough specifics of a need for further investigation to warrant a continuance. But Hippler pushed back the start of jury selection 1 week to August 4th. Opening arguments are now set for August 18th. The new scheduling order includes new closed pretrial hearings July 28th through August 1st. That trial, once it begins, is expected to take 3 months to complete. Hippler Thursday also denied Kohberger's request to present evidence of other possible perpetrators. Idaho Governor Brad Little hosted a handful of high-ranking federal officials this week for a pre-wildfire season roundtable and the governor's annual trail ride. Attendees included Deputy Undersecretary of the Department of Agriculture Kristen Sleeper, Interior Deputy Secretary Kate McGregor, and Tom Schultz, the U.S. Forest Service Chief. He's the former director of the Idaho Department of Lands. Photos released after the event show the group received a tour and briefing at the National Interagency Fire Center in Boise and heard from local officials like Boise Fire Chief Mark Niemeyer. Media weren't notified or invited to the event. The governor's press office didn't release recordings of discussions or presentations. In a press release, though, the governor's office says officials discussed wildfire season preparations, including the pre-positioning of firefighting assets for quick response, the goal of 100% suppression of fires on federal lands, and forest management, like thinning and grazing, that's meant to decrease the intensity and destruction of wildfire. A lawsuit introduced this week is challenging a proposed mining exploration project above the Treasure Valley. Plaintiffs say it would damage the area's native plants and water supply. Jamie Geary has this report.
In March, the U.S. Forest Service approved the Kumo Mining Project's exploratory drilling operation to establish an open-pit mine. Advocates for the West has now filed a lawsuit against the agency. It says the Forest Service isn't taking necessary precautions to protect Idaho's native Sacagawea bitterroot plant from drilling activity. But John Robison, the Public Lands and Wildlife Director for the Idaho Conservation League, says he's most concerned about water quality.
The Boise River is the lifeblood of our community, and anything that happens up in their headwaters that could affect our quality of life, our drinking water, our recreation, our local economic opportunities really should be of concern to everyone.
The drilling would occur next to Grimes Creek, a major watershed leading to the Boise River. Project leader Idaho Copper didn't immediately respond to comment. On its website, the company says, quote, "The Kumo project will not adversely affect the water quality in the Boise River." If it passes the exploratory phase, the resulting open-pit mine will house one of the biggest deposits of critical mineral molybdenum in the continent. Jamie Geary, Boise State Public Radio News.
'Tis the season for burn bans. The Nampa Fire District yesterday joined Caldwell in issuing an immediate burn ban for Nampa and the surrounding area. Open burning is now prohibited. That does not include outdoor fireplaces or barbecues. The Vail District of the Bureau of Land Management in eastern Oregon yesterday also issued a burn ban for open fires across its area. That's in addition to an existing ban on fireworks and incendiary ammunition and exploding targets. The ban on open fire in the Vail BLM district is effective July 4th. Idaho Supreme Court has reversed itself in a case of liability for Sun Valley Ski Resort in the death of a Boise doctor on the slopes in 2019. That case was brought by the victim's widow, but dismissed by a lower court. The state Supreme Court in 2023 overruled, saying a jury should decide whether the resort bore any responsibility for the death of 65-year-old Stuart Milas. He died after skiing into a snowmaking machine on a busy groomed run. Sun Valley Resort successfully petitioned the high court to review that decision, which the court did, ruling this week that the lower court's dismissal of the lawsuit was in fact correct. But the court also affirmed its previous interpretation of how far the law shielding ski areas in Idaho from liability actually goes. The Idaho Capital Sun reports that interpretation could open the door for more lawsuits against ski areas based on how well they comply with required standards of care, not just making some level of effort. The Sun reports state lawmakers could step in to clarify the law and its historically favorable liability protection for operators. Being more liable for patron accidents would threaten smaller ski operations, as liability insurance costs could increase dramatically. In Oregon, ski areas are scrambling this spring. The Oregonian reports a major insurer there declined to continue offering coverage because Oregon's liability laws make offering that coverage too risky. The family of the 17-year-old Pocatello boy shot to death by police in April will file a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city and its police. Pocatello officers responding to the report of a man holding a knife opened fire on 17-year-old Victor Perez from across a fence just seconds after arriving on scene. The boy was autistic, nonverbal, and had cerebral palsy. He died after being taken off life support several days later. KPVI television reports his family and attorneys say there was a failure of training and procedure that led to his death. The Attorney General's office is investigating and will determine if the officers face any charges. The family's lawsuit is expected to be filed today. Thanks for listening to The Connector this morning. Like and subscribe. That helps other people find this podcast. And we appreciate your support during a fight over public radio funding. You can learn more about what congressional Republicans want to do to claw back funding for public radio stations across the country, public television as well. That's at our website, boisestatepublicradio.org/funding. I'm Troy Oppie. Our news director is Sasha Woodruff. Our digital strategy manager is Lacey Daly. Our general manager is Tom Michael. Hope you have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you back here again on Monday.
Planet Money helps you understand the economy. We find the people at the center of the story.
Garbage in New York, that was like a controlled substance.
We show you how money influences everything.
Tell me what you like by telling me how you spend your money.
And we dig until we get answers.
I had a bad feeling you were going to bring that up.
Planet Money finds out. All you have to do is listen. The Planet Money Podcast from NPR.